Here's a legitimate question for you guys. Should Mel Kiper be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame? And it's a legitimate question for you. And here's the reason I say that. Put it up, Fletch. More than 54 million people watch the NFL draft. More than 300,000 fans on hand in Kansas City. This draft has turned into a Super Bowl-like atmosphere for so many people. I believe, and I know some disagree with me, maybe the Final Four or what have you, but I believe the NFL draft is the second biggest sporting event this country has to offer behind only the Super Bowl. And I really mean that. I really believe that. And the guy who did it first 40 years ago was Mel Kiper. His contribution to the pro football game, to the NFL game, is every bit as much, to me, as a guy like Steve Sabol or Ed Sabol, the co-founders of NFL Films, who are currently in the Hall of Fame. Bill Nunn, who is a sports writer, in the Hall of Fame. Most other people are coaches or, non-players, coaches, scouts, general managers affiliated with a particular organization. But Bill Nunn, sports writer, and then, of course, the Ed and Steve Sabol, the co-founders of NFL Films, they are in there. I think, again, Mel Kiper has had every bit the impact on this game that Sabol, Ed, and Steve had with NFL Films. The NFL draft, second biggest sporting event in the country, only behind the Super Bowl. I think he should get consideration for the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Can we just stop trying to put everybody in the Hall of Fame? Like, it's a Hall of Fame. It's for players and coaches. GMs, I get it. They start adding them later on, maybe early on in the beginning. They had some players, Steve Sabol, Ed Sabol, I understand what they did. They were responsible for breaking down hours upon hours or hours of NFL film, putting it together and sending the brand out so that everybody around the country could see the NFL brand and see teams that you don't get a chance to see. So I understand all of that. It's for players and coaches, Ryan. Put them in the Media Hall of Fame. Put him in the Media Hall of Fame. If he owned ESPN, then maybe. But he doesn't own ESPN. ESPN started showing the draft in the little smoky hotel ballroom back in '83 or whenever it was. ESPN is responsible for how large the draft is, how many eyes get on the draft. Now, I will give Mel Kiper credit. Mel Kiper Jr. definitely has broken down player after player after player, and he's made GM's jobs a lot easier over the years, and he's helped them out. But I don't know if I put him in the Hall of Fame. Are we going to eventually put Adrian Wojnarowski in the NBA Hall of Fame? Are we eventually going to put Adam Schefter into the NBA Hall of Fame or the NFL Hall of Fame based on when they get 30 years in of breaking stories and breaking news? I think Mel Kiper Jr., what he's done is made the game a lot easier for GMs. But putting the Hall of Fame, so I got to see Mel Kiper's bust right next to Deion Sanders, no bueno for me.
I just want to read a statement from ESPN's VP of production. His name is Seth Markman. I think Mel should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame for what he's accomplished. This is how we all got this thing started. He put it out, then before you know it, Todd McShay and the rest of the NFL panel, they started getting on it. So that's how we started coming up with this question. Do I think Mel Kiper is terrific? I think he's terrific on TV. I love following him all these years. I told you 27 years ago, I used to be able to call his house. He'd pick up the phone in his basement and come on the air. Now, of course, you got to go through 5 different people to try to get him on your show. Nonetheless, he is the NFL draft. I know NFL Network has it. ESPN, that's what I watch. They were the forefathers of it. Chris Berman, George Grand, where they were the host, Dr. Z, then came Mel Kiper, and the rest of the crew. Hall of Fame? No. The Sables? For sure.
Why?
Yeah,
because NFL Films, to me, made me probably more in love with the NFL than anything that I could watch NFL Films
on repeat.
Constant. That's how much I love it. The Sables, they're royalty. They really made the NFL what it is today. Mel Kiper, terrific broadcaster. Like Vin Scully is in the Baseball Hall of Fame. The Ford Frick, Ernie Harwell, Dick Enberg, those guys. They have a wing. Maybe the NFL Hall of Fame, the Football Hall of Fame, comes up with a wing for broadcasters and voices of their great game. And then he would be, I would think, maybe get a chance to be in that. But besides that, not Hall of Fame, right? But I do like Mel Kiper, but not Hall of Fame. I visited the Hall of Fame just two Christmases ago, as you guys know, and I wear my Hall of Fame sweatshirt. It's just an honor. I think I have on my phone 75 pictures of just the busts, John Madden, all of that. I'm an idiot. But I'm there to see.
But NFL Films plays a large role into that. You're talking.
I'm there to see those guys.
100%. When I was at Michigan, like the 4 channels I watched were Cartoon Network, BET, ESPN, and ESPN Classic, and that's because I was watching NFL Films on ESPN Classic. Love watching NFL Films, but I don't want to take it away from what Mel Kiper Jr. means to the NFL draft, what he means to the NFL. Because part of the process of getting drafted on 2005, I was excited to go back and see Mel Kiper's breakdown of Braylon Edwards once I went off the board. I was excited to see what Mel Kiper said before the draft started about me. So having him mention my name and my career and talk his critiques, his good, his bad, was definitely something I waited for, something I was a part of, I wanted to see. So he definitely means a lot to the sport of football, a lot to the NFL. But in terms of being in Canton, I just don't see that he deserves a bust in Canton amongst, a John Madden or a Bill Belichick when it's all said and done, or Lawrence Taylor. I knew it was coming. Lawrence Taylor or Joe Montana. No disrespect. It's tough for me as a player to quantify.
He needs his own wing.
I hate I hate trying to like. I love NFL Films too, and anytime you try to lift somebody up, it sounds like you're tearing somebody down. But whose bust is Steve Sable and Ed Sable next to?
Yeah, I know.
But who? I
don't know.
You don't know.
Probably a player or a coach.
Yeah.
Probably a player or a coach.
Separate wing. They're probably like in the closet.
There's a USFL segment in the
section.
A section in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It could have its own section, is what I'm saying.
That's true.
But the place isn't that big. That's the thing. They're going to need to expand if you want to do all of this.
I think because of the contribution to the game and the contribution to the fan, who has made the NFL. Look, the Lions are 1-6, and what are we talking about? When's Kiper's mock draft going to come out? I mean, that's like that is him. He did that. He created that conversation.
Can I pose a question to you?
Yes.
Is there any way for us to come up with a special nomination or a special inducting, whatever the word is I'm looking for, enshrining, if you will, without him being able to go to the stage and get a bust per se? Is there a way to put people in without him giving a Hall of Fame speech, if you will, but still put him in? Is that a fair trade-off? Or you think he deserves to be able to get there and give a speech too?
You can't take half a shit, right? I mean, you just can't do it.
You can't.
His wife can.
You just can't do it. You either go to the bathroom or you don't.
That's a
you
tough
know
wife.
what I mean? You just can't do it. You know, I mean, it just doesn't work. You know, do you want him in or do you want him out? You know,
you can. It's called a shark.
I mean, it's just the way
out.
it is.
He's out.
Technically, he's half in, according to Ryan.
Well, the NFL. I think the NFL.
Okay,
if you look at, I mean, I guess baseball. The NFL is a really challenging process to get in the Hall of Fame to begin with.
It used to be.
Yeah, you think it's kind of.
I think it's still elite, but I think it's on the way down, if that makes sense. I think it's still elite, it's on the way down. Because the NFL has gotten to a place where it's just so many great players. There's so many players with stats. And then they did the process. They took so long in the beginning to let guys in. Now it's like backlog. Mm-hmm. I think the NFL is backlog, and they're now picking names out of a pile based on who you're playing. John Lynch got in the Hall of Fame the year the 49ers were playing in the Super Bowl. Tony Baselli got into the Hall of Fame the year Jacksonville Jaguars made it back to the AFC Championship for the first time since. So it's like it's becoming this, like Zach Thomas. Miami has been in the news for the last 3 years. The Miami Dolphins. Zach Thomas now makes the Hall of Fame. I think now it's kind of starting to get to the level like the NBA where you see Tony Kukoc walk the stage and you're like, I get it, but damn, Tony Kukoc is starting to creep.
The NBA is like a sieve.
Well, it's a basketball Hall of Fame.
It's up for hire. How much you got? We let you in.
It's not NFL Hall of Fame.
Right, it's Pro Football.
Pro Football Hall of Fame, and they can bring anyone in they want: players, coaches, contributors. And if he's considered a contributor, they can nominate him.
Who would you? Is there a person out there? Forget about the Hall of Fame.
I think Howard Cosell should be in there.
There you go. That's
Yeah,
you know
cool.
what? It's so that's kind of where the road I was going to go down. Forget about the Hall of Fame for a second. Like actually getting in. Is there a person out there that did more to help grow the game of football? Like
Roone Arledge,
Steve Sable,
Keith
Ed
Jackson.
Sable.
Keith
Well,
Jackson.
that's more college football, though, right?
He's
I mean,
doing-
I think he is
he
in
did
the
the
college
first year
football
of
Hall
Monday
of
Night
Fame.
Football.
Oh yeah, first year. They didn't
I think
like
he
him.
is in the
But the
college
guy,
football
you want
Hall of
Roone
Fame.
Arledge. He's the guy that invented Monday Night Football. He invented it.
That's
Roone
pretty
Arledge.
good. That's
But was
pretty
he-
good contribution.
Was he on TV?
He was a producer.
He was a
executive
producer.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
And it was
Behind the
his
camera.
idea.
It's his idea to
There
put it
you
on
go.
ABC. No one else wanted it.
See, like-
ABC said, we'll do it.
I feel like people like that and Howard Cosell.
Yes.
You should get some sort of recognition. I think that would be a really great
Me too.
gesture to
I would
the
love
NFL and the contributors of the league that has made this league. This NFL, I mean, is the most dominant league in the world.
Yeah.
In the world. I know people all say soccer.
Soccer, fine.
Yeah.
Okay, in
Premier
this,
League,
forget about the
whatever.
world. Our country.
Yes.
It's the most dominant league in our country, and it's not even close. You could take all the fans of the NBA and Major League Baseball and the NHL, or wrap them all up, add them together, and football would still blow them out of the water by 10 times.
That's why I'm saying, like, and that's why I'm saying maybe you can separate the two. Maybe you have, maybe the first night of the Hall of Fame weekend that they do, maybe the first night is, it's the writers or it's people that were influencers, if you will, because we're basically calling Mel Kiper Jr. and Howard Cosell influencers to the sport. Maybe you do like a first night, like a soft open, where not everybody's going to go to that, but
You don't put their bust in, you can just put their name in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you do it at the first night. You don't do it the same day or the morning that you have freaking Tony Gonzalez giving a speech or Deion Sanders. Like, I don't want to go from Deion Sanders or Tony Gonzalez or Orlando Pace to now we got to hear from these guys. So I'd rather do it mix 2 nights. I'm cool with it.
Fair enough. Good discussion, gang. Good discussion.
Pat Summerall should be in.